grand jury hands down indictments, and one of the suspects enters a plea. Tonight, 2 men are facing multiple counts of murder in the 2006 Pinyon Pines case.
KMIR News at 6 starts now.
This is your KMIR News at 6 and streaming live on KMIR.com. I'm Elizabeth Bobian. A grand jury has handed down indictments in the Pinyon Pines triple murder case, and the 2 suspects in the case appeared in court today in Riverside. Let's bring you up to speed on today's developments. 25-year-old Robert Pape and 25-year-old Christian Smith made their first court appearance. Both have been indicted by a grand jury and charged with 3 counts of murder. There are special circumstance allegations for using a firearm and for committing multiple murders. As we said, both suspects in this case were in court today, and one of them entered a plea. Christian Smith pleaded not guilty to all charges. Robert Pape did not enter a plea. He was represented by a public defender, but asked that his arraignment be postponed so he can hire a private attorney. Both are being held tonight in Riverside. That is where KMIR's Angela Monroe has been all day long. She has the latest on the suspects' court appearances and reaction from the Riverside County DA's office. Angela.
Elizabeth, we are still waiting for the grand jury indictment papers, which at last check, the district attorney's office told me that the clerk had not scanned yet, so we still don't have those. However, earlier today, both Smith and Pape, as you said, were here earlier and did enter those pleas. Now, if convicted, Pape could face the death penalty for those charges. However, Smith could not because he was only 17 years old back in 2006. In fact, they are removing him from the grand jury indictment because he was 17 and filing a criminal complaint so that they can charge him as an adult. Here's what the district attorney's office had to say to me.
Well, anytime we file any charges in a case, it's because we believe that we can prove that case beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury of 12 people. And the same thing here with the grand jury indictment. The grand jury is only going to indict when they believe that they have enough evidence to hand down an indictment on someone. So at this point, based on what we've charged, the evidence that we have in this case, we believe we have enough to file these charges in this case.
Now, the grand jury heard about 30 witnesses in a 5-day period. Now, this case has, of course, taken a lot of time considering that this crime happened back in 2006. The district attorney's office got the case from the sheriff's department back in April 2013, so just a little less than a year ago. They asked the sheriff's department to investigate more and got the case back in December 2013. That's when the district attorney's office took over the rest of the investigation.
It's taken a long time to get to this point, unfortunately, and we're hopeful that the fact that we've now at a point where arrests have been made and charges have been filed, hope that brings some solace and some relief to the family, however it may help them get through this further, we hope. It's been a difficult trying investigation, obviously, as you can tell by the length of time that's taken. As far as what was or wasn't done from the time of the crime up until the point that it was presented to us for potential filing, I'd have to refer you back to the Sheriff's Department on any of that specifics.
I did call the sheriff's department again. They didn't have a further comment for me. Now, the next court date for the men is going to be on Tuesday. That's March 18th. At some point between today and that date, they will be moved to Indio, and the rest of the court proceedings will be held in Indio. Live in Riverside, I'm Angela Monroe for KMIR News. Now back to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you for that information, Angela. Kristen Smith's lawyer, Jim Chickley, says his client is innocent, and he's already working to clear his client's name. He came to KMIR for an interview. Here is what he had to say.
Very surprised. I mean, he understood the process and he understood the possibilities with the indictment, but understanding the facts as I know them, and I've been involved with the case for 7 years now, it was surprising that they even indicted him in the first instance. You know, he knew Robert. His relationship with Becky was, as I understand it, loose, a friendship. Other than that, I really couldn't tell you much about it. When the police started investigating, they threw, I believe, a wide net looking at a lot of different people, and he was just one of the people that they started asking questions about. But they were very aggressive, and it was uncomfortable for the young man at the time. He's just a boy, really. So they asked me to come in and help out. We're going to develop the real storyline for why now, but the reasons for the prosecution now are unfortunately, I think, pressure-based. I don't want to try the case in front of the camera. That'll be for the courtroom. On the other hand, I'm really concerned about the way this is being brought to the public's attention. And I think the public needs to know a little bit more about Christian Smith, and they need to know that he did not commit this crime. I really do believe in his innocence, and it's going to come out, and there's only one way this case is going to end up. That's a not guilty verdict.
This story is moving quickly. It has just been over 24 hours now since KMIR first broke the story that Smith and Pape were arrested. Our Giselle Puente has been out gathering reaction to the arrest now nearly 8 years after the date of those murders. She joins us live from the newsroom. Giselle.
Elizabeth, I was in Salton City today, where one of the suspects, Robert Pape, was arrested by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department yesterday. Now, today I spoke with several residents in the area who were shocked to find out that this suspect in a triple murder case was arrested in their neighborhood. Pape is a resident of Cathedral City and was arrested around 4 p.m. Tuesday. The area falls under the Imperial County jurisdiction, but it was the Riverside County Sheriffs who made the arrest. They had a warrant for Pape and contacted the Imperial County to proceed. According to an investigator, the suspect worked at DCS Air Conditioning in Thousand Palms. I reached out to the company several times today, but they had no comment. At this time, it's unclear if Pape was on a service call in the neighborhood when he got arrested. Now, one of the residents said he witnessed the sheriff's activity yesterday.
I was out washing my car, and down the street there was a sheriff with 3 other vehicles parked over there. So there was a little bit of commotion going on. That was about it. It lasted probably about 45 minutes.
The other suspect in the Pinyon Pines murders is Christian Smith, and he was arrested at Palm Springs International Airport. Live from the newsroom, I'm Giselle Puente. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Giselle. On Monday, an attorney for a material witness in this case leaked an affidavit detailing the suspects' names, details of the murders, and a motive. We did not make this information public because it could have jeopardized the grand jury and arrests. Tonight, with suspects charged, we are revealing what that document says. This affidavit details the state's case against Robert Pape and Christian Smith and alleges their roles in the Pinyon Pines slayings. It states on the night of September 17, 2006, a fire was reported at this house in the small rural community of Pinyon Pines and the mountains above Palm Desert. Becky Friedley's body was found burning in a wheelbarrow in the yard and the Friedley house completely ablaze. After the fire was put out, Becky's mom, Vicky, was found dead inside with her boyfriend, John Hayward. Vicky died from a gunshot wound to the head, possibly from a Glock handgun. John was shot in the chest with a 12-gauge shotgun. This document also alleges Becky's best friend, Javier Garcia, called her on that night at 6:40. She told him Robert and Christian were coming over because they were going hiking between 6:30 and 7. It also states in an interview with detectives, Pape said he had dated Becky for 15 months, but claimed they broke up in January 2006 because she cheated on him. He claimed they had only sporadic contact since then. The day after the murders, this document states Javier Garcia spoke to Pape, who said he and Christian decided not to go hiking with Becky the night of the murders. Pape allegedly told investigators he and Christian were alone the entire night. But cell phone activity places Robert and Christian in the proximity of the Friedley home before and after the crimes. At the scene of the crime, near where Becky's body was found, was a business card that had Christian Smith's DNA. The chance that such a DNA match could happen at random is 1 in 320,000. Their phones were both turned off from 7 p.m. till 11 p.m. A, quote, unprecedented anomaly in their cellular activity records. A year later, on October 2nd, 2007, a search of Pape's house found a 12-gauge shotgun and a holster for a Glock handgun. A search of Smith's house found 2 12-gauge shotguns. We are still investigating how attorney Eduardo Roy, this man who is representing Javier Garcia Jr., got a hold of this document. The DA's office tells us it is not their practice to provide legal documents in an ongoing criminal investigation to criminal defense attorneys. Garcia's father is a senior investigator in the DA's office, and his mom here, Bonnie Garcia, is running for state senate. We also heard from John Hayward's daughter, Katie, this afternoon, who told KMIR, quote, My family and I are ecstatic about the long-awaited arrests that were made in the case late yesterday afternoon. This is just the beginning of a long journey for everyone involved, but I believe that a trial will bring truth and answers to the questions that we have been wanting for 7.5 years. I cannot wait for the end of this all and will not give up until justice is served for my dad, Becky, and Vicky. And as the Pinyon Pines murder case now moves into the courtroom, be sure to stay with KMIR News. We broke the story on yesterday's arrest, and we are staying on top of this case until its completion. Stay with KMIR for full and complete coverage as a new chapter begins in the Pinyon Pines triple murder case.